Hey everybody, it's Alika Lifty, and today let's brew our Honduras Isaias Fernandez wash process coffee as a filter offering. This is another year of the wonderful Paranema from Isaias Fernandez in Honduras. We had this coffee last year. Part of what makes Isaias coffees so special is he does a pre-fermentation of about 48 hours before fully depulping and washing his coffee. This leads to a lot of soluble material and a very interesting, very nice and sweet flavor profile. Just like last year as well, we chose to brew this coffee in the Stagg X dripper. This thermal double-walled stainless steel brewer is going to help maintain a higher slurry temperature and get a lot of extractable material in a shorter time for this coffee because it wants to drain fast. But there's so much coffee in here, there's so much flavor in here, we need a little bit more heat and a little bit of agitation to extract all this flavor. So, Stagg X Dripper, we're going to be using 20 grams of coffee ground medium fine. This is 12 clicks on your Baratza Encore. This is about 23 clicks on your Comandante C40 and a 1 on your Fellow Ode. And we're going to be using 320 grams of 205 degree Fahrenheit water, so a 1:16 ratio. I also found this coffee to be pretty nice at 20 grams of coffee to 340 grams of water, so just extending that ratio a little bit more. Made it a little bit more delicate, but spread out that sweetness and was still nice and silky in the texture. So, let's start brewing. First, let's wet our paper filter. You can use the Stagg X filters provided by Fellow, or you can use your Kalita 185 filters. 155 is going to be too small in this brewer. Just pour heavy, about a quarter of the way, and then rinse the edges. Be sure to rinse the edges of this filter. This brew is going to get pretty tall in this brewer. So let's let this drain out. And I always like to lift that filter just a little bit off the edge, but I've found that my filter sags and chokes the brewer less when I use these Kalita 185 filters. So let's dose our coffee. Shake it flat. And after the bloom, you're going to want either a AeroPress paddle or our trusty borosilicate stir stick or a chopstick. Tear your scale. Everything is ready to go. My kettle's still hot. Start our timer, and I'm going to bloom 50 grams. Once I reach that point, let's take that stir stick. Make sure we've broken apart all of this dry clumps. And at 30 seconds, I'm going to pour heavy in the middle up to 120 grams total. Drop. Fill. Careful not to overflow your filter. You can let off a bit. Should be pretty well close to the top of that filter without running over the edge of it. And then here at 55 seconds, I'm going to pour heavy again. I'm going to drop in the middle and then slowly spiral out to 220. Drop, fill it up, spiral. Try to push all the edges back, work my way back to the middle to 220. And then here at around 1 minute and 35 seconds, I'm going to do the same thing, drop heavy in the middle, work my way out, work my way back in. Essentially just trying to keep that flow rate going and then touching all the coffee. Finishing off at 320. You should not drip all the way through your coffee between these pulses. If you do, then you're going to want to grind more fine. All right, on that note, if we drain too fast, where we drip through the brew bed each pulse. Then we've ground 2 coarse. We're going to drain too fast, and this coffee is going to be a little sharp. It's going to be astringent and take on that kind of bitter acidity characteristic of grapefruit or cranberry without much sweetness and not much texture. If we drain too long, then our coffee is going to become drying like black tea and cocoa. We're going to miss some of this sweetness. But if we drain in range, I'm looking at a target of around 2 minutes and 45 seconds. But we have a range around that point. Then we're going to get really nice, sweet red cranberry. We're going to get nutty almond, almost like honey roasted almonds. We're going to get black tea and this pleasant sweetness like sugar cane. This is a really nice coffee. Similar, just different expressive profile than what we had last season, which makes it such an interesting coffee to get, especially if you had it last year. Instead of cherry, it's almond. Instead of cherry, it's cranberry, but we get this nuttiness, we get this sweetness. And then serve. And enjoy.